Hello, everyone. Welcome back, and good morning to those of you joining us right now. My name is Alex. As I was saying a moment ago on the previous call, I'm going to be your host for this morning. I hope you enjoy it. For those of you that just joined us, how was yesterday? Okay? I don't see too many people with hangovers, so I'm not sure. Good? Well, it's going pretty well. Thank you all for being here. This going back to normal is kind of a little bit strange. It's like, should I take the mask? Should I put the mask? Should I hug you? Should elbow, two elbows, whatever? Anyway, welcome to the startup stage. We're going to be doing Industry 4.0 in this block, and afterwards we're going to connect with the next block, so it's going to go pretty fast. For those of you that want to listen to all of them, I advise you to stay because this is going to peak in like half an hour or something like that, so it's going to be pretty much packed, okay? Anyhow, I want to welcome our judges. Judges, thank you very much. Big applause for our judges for being here and helping us up with this. And I need to ask you for a favor, which is I want a big applause for our production team that's going to be here nearly without eating all day to make this show possible. So please, big applause to our team that they are sleeping barely. And with this, let's kick off the first block. Remember, 3-minute pitch. I'll come on stage if you overrun your time, and we will have 1-minute Q&A. Please, judges, I like the questions, so I would love to have questions every single time, okay? These guys are cool guys. Are you guys cool guys? You're not being very convincing right now. Oh, it's a mask, okay. Anyhow, so let's go all the way to the Netherlands in person, flying here to present you their startup. And I want to introduce you a startup that allows you to build robots and things like drones in a modular way. As we keep using this technology, it's becoming increasingly efficient to be able to have this Lego block so we can build even more complex devices or adjust them to the reality that we need. And to talk about that, I want to welcome our first startup of the day. Please welcome Luc Jongen, Business Development of Abular.
Good morning, everyone. I think we live in very exciting times because we see engineers and entrepreneurs develop all kinds of new mobile robots to solve the world's toughest challenges. Challenges related to agriculture, healthcare, sustainability, safety, and many, many more. My name is Luc Jongen. I'm part of Abular, and we believe in the power of robots. However, building robots is actually extremely hard. Teams are developing robots and spending years and years developing just the basics, either from scratch or by duct taping together incompatible components from all kinds of suppliers. As you can see, these robots are very different in size, shape, and function, but we actually see that they have a lot in common. They all need to move around autonomously and safely, whilst being aware of what is going on around them. So if only these entrepreneurs didn't have to spend all their time on developing the basics, they could focus on their specific applications and build their businesses. That's where we come in. We accelerate the development of mobile robots, and it is our mission to make mobile robots accessible for anyone with a good idea to make the world a better place. Our solution is called The Essentials, and it's the world's first end-to-end solution of modular hardware and software building blocks. With this solution, entrepreneurs can build new robots or turn existing machines into autonomous ones. The solution is fully modular, allowing users to add all kinds of functionalities they need, which is basically as simple as playing with Lego. No longer will you have a tangle of wires, but you will have one single integrated solution to develop your robots. No longer thousands of lines of code, but a simple visual way of programming, and no longer a dependency on software developers, but a visual way such that any engineer can develop a new robot. And we go even further. To accelerate these entrepreneurs even better, we have introduced ready-to-customize driving and flying robot platforms that innovators can use from day one to build their applications and build their businesses. And it works. People all over the world are already using our essentials and robot platforms for all kinds of autonomous applications, from cleaning to industrial chimney inspection, and from greenhouse monitoring to sports field data collection. But these are just examples of what is possible today. Therefore, I would like to challenge each and every one of you to come up with new robotic ideas to build a better world. Because with our products and our people, we can jointly make those dreams come true. The only limitation is your imagination. Thank you.
Very good, Luke. Thank you very much. Do you mind stepping here so we can catch your cameras? By the way, this is saying hello to all the people watching online. That's why we need you there. And this is also for the judges. Anyone that's going to ask a question, please stand up and say your name and your background so we actually get you on the camera. Do we have any questions, judges? Come on. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, congratulations for the presentation. My question is, how do you see yourself compared with the competitors, and what is your competitive advantage?
It's a very good question. I think our main competitive advantage is that we offer one end-to-end solution that's fully integrated. Because there's a lot of modules available on the market, but they all solve specific problems. And then you end up having to integrate all these different parties to add all these functionalities to your robot. And this one is just fully modular. You can just take off the lid and stack any module you need. So for example, a 4G module, if you want to have cellular connection, or you can add additional computing power for more advanced algorithms. And it's on the hardware side and on the software side, where you also have the building blocks you need for any mobile robot. So think of path planning algorithms, SLAM algorithms, but yeah, also the basic robot control. So it's the modular solution, and yeah, basically a one-stop shop for any new robot project.
Hey.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Luke, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you very much for joining us. Big applause for Abulard and Luke. Thank you. And now, believe it or not, we are flying virtual all the way to Japan to talk about something that I think anyone that likes or loves robots has experienced, which is how hard it is to get the robot to actually grab something. Now, when you deploy robots in things like factories and advanced manufacturing, automated manufacturing, and assembly lines, this becomes a huge issue to scale up the automation. And to talk about that with our amazing technology, I want to welcome our next startup, as I said, all the way from Japan, Alexander Schmitz, the CTO of Cellar Robotics.
Hi, we are Cellar Robotics. Cellar Robotics provides the human sense of touch to robots. The problem many industrial countries are facing is a rapidly aging society. Associated with that is a high cost of human labor. To be more efficient and cost-effective, companies are trying to fully automate their factories and warehouses. And eventually, we want to have collaborative robots in our homes. But the reality is that robots are still very clumsy and cannot perform many tasks. So you might ask, why are they not ready yet? We believe that there is a missing piece in the design of current robots. Most companies focus on visual data and smart AI, which are very important to locate an object. However, visual data is not enough to grasp, hold, and manipulate an object. Tactile data is required to solve this problem. This is the winner of the Amazon Picking Challenge, and as shown in the video, the robot cannot hold the object. Only the sense of touch can tell you if you're grasping the object with the right amount of force, if the object is slipping out of your hand, and so on. Cellar Robotics provides this sense of touch with our U-Skin sensors. You can see the skin patches that we developed on the left side, which come in different shapes and sizes. If you compare our products to our competitors, we have established that they're too big for the integration in thin robot skin. They're not durable. They are difficult to integrate because they need many wires and additional electronics. They do not provide distributed 3D sensing, and they're too expensive. In addition to developing the U-Skin sensor, we also specialize in integrating our sensors into various robot hands and grippers. For example, we integrated the sensors into the Sacro Robotics gripper. With our sensors, the gripper can grasp fragile objects, such as a business card, in several ways without deforming the shape. This is the Allegro hand by Bloomfield Robotics. We integrated 368 3-axis sensors, and only 4 wires are required to collect all the measurements. Also note that the fingertips are curved, like a human fingertip. As of now, we are only selling the sensors as a product. However, we are currently developing a software solution to improve our user's experience. For example, here, the sensors detect slip very fast, and the gripper can react to it. There are various applications that can benefit from a U-skin integration, and each of them is a fast-growing, multi-billion-dollar business industry. In previous years, many of our customers have come from the tactile eye research area. However, we are currently moving away from this application and focus more on non-research-related based clients, such as assembly line optimization. We started a company in August 2018 and received a grant of $1 million. We had $94,000 sales in the first year, 180 in the second, and 380,000 in the third year. We also received a seed investment of $100,000 US. This fiscal year, we are looking for a Series A investment. We will go into mass production because we have customers who require larger quantities. We will release our software for the U-skin sensor together with the software license model. If you also believe that the future is robotics, contact us.
Big applause. I know it sounds weird, but even if you cannot see them, they're actually listening to us. They are online. We're going to just connect them in a second, but they're live with us right now. So, judges, do we have any questions for Alexander, please? Questions. Don't make me beg, please. Thank you, Nat. Okay, let's see. We have Alexander with us.
Thank you for taking my question. Unai Franco here from White.
See if we can get them through. Do we have them? Yes? No? Maybe? There we go. Hi. Hello, Alexander. Or I'm thinking, gute Nacht.
Hi, Alexander. Unai Franco here from White Peak Partners. Thanks for the pitch. Really interesting. One quick question on the revenue model or the business model. How are you monetizing this? Is it a hardware sale plus license? Is there any recurring element? How's the model looking like? Thanks.
Alexander, we are not listening to you. Are you muted by any chance?
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Yes. Loud and clear. Thanks.
Okay. So we sell the sensor hardware.
And you're muted again. You're muted again.
And we also sell the software subscription.
That was probably the fastest answer I've ever heard in my life. Sorry, Alexander, we couldn't really hear you, and we only said like a SaaS software, SaaS model. So that was perfect. Well, do we have any other questions for Alex? No? Okay, well, Alexander, thank you so much for being connected. We know how hard it is with the time zones. So, Dankeschön, and have a good night, I believe, right now. Okay, big applause for Alexander and for Stellar Robotics. There we go. Now we're going back to physical, and I don't know why, but we're going to be talking about inactivating viruses and bacteria in air and surfaces. We actually needed this before. Anyhow, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our next speaker. He's the CEO and co-founder, Enrique Medina of Thetrium. Big applause.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for coming here. We have created the most advanced air purification system in the world. Okay? So we can overcome this pandemic and not having to suffer from this again. Okay? Why our system is the best? Because what we do, we put the air under a very high voltage. So we break the neutral particles of the air. We create ions. And those ions are the most effective way of killing virus and bacteria. Okay? Even though those ions are very unstable, so they very fast became again into neutral particles of air. So we take air with microorganisms, and we give air absolutely clean. And when we mean clean, we mean not only by microorganisms, also with particles. We are very, very efficient with particles that are responsible for allergies. Okay? So applications are really huge, from schools, offices, restaurants, public transport. Only the market related to hotels 4 and 5 stars in Europe and United States, it's more than 6 billion. Okay? Our device doesn't have any chemical, no waste, and even though they don't need any fan, we create wind by ourselves, so it's absolutely silent. Okay? What makes us different from any other thing is that we have been able to test it against SARS-CoV-2. Okay? We have proved the efficiency in air, something that very few people, I think it's unique from ourselves. Okay? And we also test our device in real environment, not just in lab chambers. Okay? And we do them in very, very renowned places in Spain, CSIC or University of León. And we are getting very high inactivation percentage. We are up to 99.8%. Okay? Our competitors, EPA filters, they work very well, but they need a huge fan to be able to pass through the filters, and they keep those bacteria and viruses in the filter that you have to exchange. We destroy the virus and bacteria, and we don't need any fan, so we don't make any noise or UVC light. Okay? But they need a little bit of time, from 3 to 6 seconds, to work. So, well, we are fast, silent, and very, very efficient. Okay? We are 12 engineers, we have 2 patents, and we have been awarded with some prizes from national and European level, in the Hello Tomorrow last year. And what we are looking for. We are certificating our system, and we have our first clients that they are waiting for our system. Okay? But we need more pioneers to be the first users to ensure the safest and the most comfortable working environment for their people, for their workers, and for their clients. And we also need people to join our team because we want to grow a lot for next year. So thank you very much. We are Thetrium. We drive the flow.
Bravo. Thank you very much, Enrique. That was amazing. I love what you guys are doing. This is the kind of stuff why we do startups, to get this kind of amazing technologies. Judges, do we have any questions? Oh gosh, we have 3. You have to get into alignment. Who wants to do it? Thank you.
Hello. Jacopo from Future Industry Ventures. Can you elaborate on your business model and your scalability strategy, please?
Our business model is very simple. We sell devices. Okay? We have agreement with national manufacturers to do those devices in the same quality as our technology. Those manufacturers are tier 1 of aeronautics and automotive sectors. Okay? So we sell the devices, and we have some recyclable cartridges that you have to change every 2 to 3 years. So for the user, it's quite easy. It's like a printer, let's say. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, we are in the booth, I think, 114. So if we have a small demo there, and if anybody wants to see the magic, we welcome you to follow us.
And you see, people, that what he did there, that is smart. Very good. Big applause for Enrique. Thank you so much for your time.
Very much.
Thank you very much for being here. And speaking about manufacturing and speaking about automating the manufacturing, the factory line, the assembly lines, we have our next startup, which comes all the way from China, and we're going to be talking about AI-powered robotics for the manufacturing aspects. So please welcome our next speaker, all the way from China, in virtual, the marketing manager of Durabot, Curtis Q.
Hi, I'm Curtis from Durabot. I'm so happy to be here today, and in today's presentation, I'm going to share a little bit about who we are, the problems we're solving, and our solutions. Durabot is an end-to-end automated warehouse solutions provider for any businesses that require warehousing. Let's look at the problems that many industries are facing today. The volume of the whole logistics industry continues to grow at a very amazing speed, and the pandemic situation sort of in a way accelerates the process. And then we also have the aging population, which leads to labor shortages and increasing costs on day-to-day warehouse operations. Now, most of the work done inside the warehouse, like the sortation and palletization, they're done manually. So our solution is to use AI plus robotics to do all those repetitive work and make it even faster, more efficient, and more accurate. And these are the core technologies that we use for our solutions. Now, I'm going to drop right in and share some of our mature solutions and use cases with you. The first one is DuraSorter, which is an automated sorting robot. Compared to traditional sorting solution, manual sorting, this sorting robot can deal with more than 1,000 pieces of packages per hour, which is 2 times faster than traditional manual operation. And we started working with DHL since last year. And right now we have helped them deploy the solution in the United States, in Singapore, and also in South Korea. And then we also have Durapalletizer, which is a mixed SKU palletizing solution that can deal with multiple SKU products in real time. We also have DuraJack, which is one of our mobile robot solutions. We also have software as a product or service. This container loading planner helps businesses process a large amount of data and then generate the best and optimized plan for operators to load a container. And then at the end, I'm going to share a little bit about our company. We started in the year of 2015, and right now it's been 6 years already. And we have offices around the world. And currently we have around 200 employees, and we are in Series B funding stage. And this is the team. We have an amazing business team that has rich background in logistics, and we also have a very strong tech team that has a solid background in robotics and software engineering. We are a fast-growing and scalable company, and we're also looking for potential opportunities in Europe. And that's why I'm here today at the summit. I'm so looking forward to it, and that's my pitch today. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. So, do we have judges? Do we have any questions for Curtis? Anyone? Come on. Come on, please. Someone a question. Nai, I know you have a question. No? Anyone? No questions? Yeah? Okay. Ni hao, Curtis.
Hello, ni hao. How are you?
Thank you very much for joining us today. I know it's pretty late over there, so thank you for the effort. And I believe we have a quick question here for you.
Hello, Curtis. Thank you for the presentation.
Okay.
Dario Villena from Capita. One fast question. How do you plan to enter in Europe? Because you said you wanted to do some marketing here, some efforts. Do you plan to
Yes.
raise another affiliate company? Do you plan to bring people here, hire people here? What's your strategy?
Well, we have 3 different strategies. So first of all, so me coming for the summit is one of the the strategies. Like we are participating in a lot of accelerated programs like South Summit, and in other countries in Europe, we're also doing the same there. And then the second one is we are working with the other partners in Europe to see if there is any possibility that we can work on a project together. And then the last one is, yes, we are looking to recruit and to build a local team in Europe. And before, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we have a contact in Germany. But since the pandemic broke out, so we we have to retrieve that contact. So right now we don't have any personnel there, but we are looking to build an office there in Europe, and hopefully it will be soon. Thank you very much for the question.
Okay, thank you very much. That's yeah, I'm really impressed that you're here, because it's amazing. Like I'm a big fan of China. I know very, very well what's happening there right now, and so I have to give you this. You have balls, my friend. You have balls. So Curtis,
Oh, thank you very much.
thank you so much for being here, Xie, and hopefully we'll see you very soon.
Yeah.
Big applause, please.
See you soon. Thank you.
And keeping with the kind of companies that I really like, I'm a big nerd of space. And If there's a company I really like, is the one we're going to see next. Again, personal preference. Don't mind the MC. But I want to welcome our next startup, which is probably very distant from the usual that you normally see. We're going to be talking about space, and we're going to be talking about the new revolution that's happening in space, and what kind of challenges and needs we have right now, for real, in low orbit projects. And to talk about that and what their technology is capable of doing, I want to welcome our next speaker here physically. Big applause to Daniel Perez, CEO of E&I Space.
All right, hi guys. If I asked you to picture a rocket, you would probably think about something like this. The Falcon Heavy from SpaceX. And if I asked you to picture a satellite, you might think about something like this. Not working? OK. There we go. Something like this, one of these bus-sized geostationary satellites that we have today. But due to recent advances in the miniaturization of multiple technologies and the lower cost of accessing space, most of the satellites that are launched today are actually more like this. Again, not showing. OK, there we go. A nanosatellite. And the very neat thing about these is that they retain most of the functionality of larger satellites, but in a much, much smaller package. Now, considering this, it might also surprise you to know that most of the rockets that are flying out there today are not, OK, here we go, thank you, are not these huge launcher vehicles that you've seen, but actually much smaller propulsion systems. There we go. Much smaller propulsion systems that are embedded directly into the satellites themselves and allow them to maneuver once they're in orbit and reach their final destinations. Now, as satellites become smaller and smaller, miniaturizing these propulsion systems is also a challenge, and that's the challenge that we're up against at E&I Space. I'm Daniel Perez, I'm the CEO, and we are not working with the yeah, OK. And we're trying to disrupt the onboard propulsion market in small satellites. All right. Next. Yeah. OK, here we go. So it's a great moment to come into the space market right now. Most of the satellites that are launched today are very, very small. That means that a lot of new innovation, a lot of new players are coming into the market. It's going to be a $30 billion market by this decade, and it's run by a lot of new and emerging applications. But the issue that we found is the fact that most of these new satellites do not have onboard propulsion systems on them. This is what actually the numbers look like today. So you can see a big divide between the small satellites and the bigger satellites. And of course, bigger satellites use these propulsion systems because they're typically critical systems inside in the mission of a satellite. Now, the reason why the small satellites do not have these onboard propulsion systems is because due to barriers to mass adoption, we found 4. One is cost. The other one is satellite constraints in terms of mass, power, and volume. The other one is satellite variability, because a 1-kilo satellite versus a 100-kilo satellite are very different types of systems. And finally, a lack of dedicated knowledge regarding propulsion systems in most teams today. OK, next. Nope. Sorry about that. All right. Should I just go on or wait? All right. We can start with a Q&A.
Yeah, we can talk about that. No, I mean, I can talk. I was very impressed, by the way, just to give you context. I was reviewing the pitch with him, and big fan of this. And it's hard to find. First of all, your English is absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I grew up in the U.S. There's no.
Yeah, I was like, there's something there that, like, yeah, I'm missing. But it's impressive. How did you ended up getting into space?
Well, I did aerospace engineering. I was a big fan of space from very early on. Then I went to work in the industry for a while. Then did a PhD, and then we decided that me and some other colleagues from the PhD decided that we wanted to build a company.
It's just easy, you know. You do aerospace engineering, you do your PhD, you work at NASA for a while, and then
yeah. Well, I mean, we're very excited about what we do. So very challenging. Obviously, space is very, very challenging. But
I'll ask you something, because this is as a fan of space tech, and I'm getting to know a lot of the players there. But I always think, I'm a computer engineer. I'm not an aerospace engineer. So I always keep wondering, how do you get involved in this if you're not an aerospace engineer.
We actually have a pretty multidisciplinary team. We've been building the team from 2019, which is when we funded the company. We started with 3 people, now we're 12 people. And we have software engineers, we have physics, physics masters, we have, quite a lot of different profiles actually. Actually, aerospace engineers are the least people that we have in the company now. We have electronics engineers and so on. I mean, you want to build a product, right? So you cannot have just one kind of expertise in the company. So
definitely. I don't know if we fixed the thing. Is it working?
Not.
Yeah, let's see. So because it's not the clicker that's glitching.
It going now?
Yeah, it's going, or not? No, it's not working. No,
all right,
that's not you.
Someone else.
Things of live television. That's what happens. I'm just curious, who here is a fan of?
All right, I'll just continue because I think
Sure?
I think I can finish it. I know it by heart.
Yeah, you know it by heart. I
All
know
right,
that.
so in order to meet these, let's say, to face these barriers to mass adoption, we're basically providing 2 solutions. One is Athena. It's a micropropulsion system. It's an ultra-high efficiency, ultra-low cost electric propulsion system that can be actually customized to meet client demands and requirements. Second one is a software that you can actually look up right now at go.eni.space, and it allows us to basically understand these requirements, translate them into design features for Athena, and actually operate these propulsion systems once they're up there in space. And we think we're a very client-oriented company. We like to think of what the clients really need. We look at the type of platforms that they're going to be flying, the type of power availability that they have, and also the type of missions that they want to carry out. And then when we have all those things, that translates into a unique product that is custom built for each of our clients. Let's say that's what we're working on right now. And I just want to say that 2021 has been a really good year for us. We're really excited about 2022, which is going to be going into our commercial phase. And we are also opening a seed round in 2022. So if anyone's interested in talking about that, we can talk about that later. And I'm just going to finish here, but I just want to mention that what we do at ENI Space really is rocket science. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm really sorry about that. I didn't understand that. Actually, they just told me you managed to crash both computers. I don't know what your presentation has. Anyhow, we have a question here, and I'm going to give you another question there over there.
Really good presentation without the deck. So Rodolfo from Armilar. Quick question. So the space industry value chain is being totally disrupted. A few years ago, you'd have sold to Airbus or something as a supplier. Who are your clients, and how do you see yourselves in this really different value chain in the space industry?
So our clients are mainly satellite manufacturers and satellite integrators, but we actually operate throughout the whole, let's say, value chain, because we try to get to work with clients early on through our software systems. That allows them to understand if they actually need propulsion systems on board, and if they do, what kind of propulsion systems they need, right? That's kind of like the preliminary mission design that a lot of people do initially. Then we design and manufacture these thrusters for them, and then finally we operate them once their satellites are already in space. So we work with, again, satellite manufacturers, satellite integrators, and satellite operators throughout the whole value chain in the space sector. And yes, the space sector is being heavily disrupted right now, which is why technologies such as ours are going to be very important, I think, in the future, because, again, satellites are getting smaller and smaller. You cannot simply translate the typical propulsion systems that have been used up until now. You need new technologies, and that's what we're working on.
Okay, thank you. And we had another question over there, please.
Thanks for the presentation. I'm Owen Reynolds from Expand Capital, and we've done 2 space tech investments, so quite interested in the space. I was curious, how much of the value for your customers is the proprietary modeling and the software you mentioned versus the hardware itself?
Well, we have been working in 2021 with our first clients, I would say, and I think they've been really amazed at what our software capabilities can do. again, one of the things I was kind of mentioning was that there's really a lack of dedicated knowledge. Most of the teams that build satellites are either telecommunications engineers or, I mean, sometimes aerospace engineers, but propulsion seems to be a kind of obscure part of the equation. So our software really solves that problem because it allows them to understand very, very easily what requirements they have if they want to, for example, keep the satellite orbiting for 5 years or 7 years, if they want to do a an orbit change throughout the mission, if they need to correct the orbit once it's launched from the launcher. So they can understand that very easily, and that for us directly creates a model of the system that's going to be able to carry out all of those maneuvers. So I think for them it's really intuitive and it's really easy to understand. For us it's a great lead generator, and then what we can do is we have a second tool that's actually called DNI 360 that then includes even other systems in the satellite. So you can do, let's say, multi-system optimization to take into account things like batteries, solar panels, and all that stuff. And all that feeds into our model and gives us this, again, this kind of like very precise design of the thruster that is just basically just right for each of our clients.
Okay, well, I can actually say that while working with the pitch, I remember that he gave a lot of stress to the software part, and it actually caught my attention. It's like, whoa, that's not usual. Then again, you're talking about thrusters and things that go kaboom, so no wonder why.
Well, this one doesn't explode. Thankfully, this
that.
one won't explode, but yeah.
Well, David, thank you so much. I'm really sorry for what happened,
That's
but
all
you
right.
did a magnificent job. Big applause for David.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I love we have investors on space. We need more space investors. Anyhow, so now we're moving all the way to France in virtual mode again, and we're going to be talking. There's been like a general theme during the summit on supply chains, and it seems, especially now, and mark my words, what's going to happen in the next few months during Christmas is going to be hell when it comes to supply chains. However, there's a lot of issues, and we're putting a lot more focus on supply chains and the challenges and the issues that are arising from our current situation. And precisely to talk about that and to how to help organizations reduce the day-to-day waste and inefficiencies in the supply chain, we have our next startup. So please welcome with a very warm applause from France, Jean Clavel, Sales and Partnership Manager of Floyd.
Hello everybody, my name is Jean and I'm Sales Executive at Floyd. So basically today, thanks a lot for South Summit to giving us the opportunity to pitch. Did you know that 30% of the food produced every year worldwide is wasted? And what if with some like AI algorithm, we could help tackle one of the biggest challenge of our generation, and at the same time also help companies to save trillions of dollars. Optimizing inventories is the subject we aim at to Floyd. It's becoming harder and harder. Shortages are hitting the news recently with the COVID period we've been through. And did you know, for example, that drug shortages have been multiplied by 6 between 2014 and 2020. But at the same time, we do see that inventories have been increased by 32% in the past 15 years. Why? And that's the biggest challenge we want to go through, because the world is getting more and more complex and volatile than ever before. Customers want to have product quickly, and the supply chain is more and more complex. For example, a Ford Model T needed 1,400 parts, all sourced from few suppliers in the USA. A modern car needs more than 30K parts sourced from all over the world and from thousands of suppliers. Classical way of sizing inventories and replenishments has been thought when the world was more stable and certain. And from our knowing in supply chain, having experts into the theory of supply chain, and using probabilistic and cognition learning, we built a solution that really captured the complexity and uncertainty of our modern world. Floyd is, we built this SaaS to help companies to predict what was going to sell or to use to build a product, and really to capture the risk, predict the risk of the demand, the risk of the supply, and using this uncertainty, try to have the right amount of inventory at any time in the supply chain. Basically, it's a SaaS that plug above an ERP that help you make you better decision on your planning and replenishment. In 2 years, we have been implementing the solution at 15 manufacturing and major retailers, and by using Flawlity, we help them to reduce inventories by almost 60% and shortages by 20%, saving millions of euros. And all this in a COVID context period. Here are a few names of people we are working with at the moment, and major names. And so do not hesitate to drop me a line on the LinkedIn or have my contact through South Summit if you need more information. Thanks a lot.
Whoopsie. Okay, judges, do we have any questions for John? No one? No? Come on, give me one question, please. You're making me beg today, huh? There are some judges that have been very silent. Silent judges, please. Ask questions. Anyone? There we go. Thank you very much. Bonjour, Jean. Ça va? Or not? Oh, we are having a hell of a morning. Do we have John or we don't have John? Or maybe not. We don't have him. So anyway, you were saved by the bell, by the way. Okay, either way, let's give him a very big applause. Thank you very much, John. And our next startup is quite interesting because I was recently talking with someone, and I do martial arts training, and for me it's beyond the martial art. It's interesting because you get to train with people that come from very, very different paths in life, and you get exposed to realities of people that you won't normally get exposed to. And this is the case, that we sometimes forget that there's a big chunk of the population that has issues, even though they're not our issues, but they also require advanced technology to fix it and to improve their lifestyles. And precisely to talk about that, and to talk about disruptive technology that implements artificial vision solutions, I want to welcome our next startup. So please, a big applause to Daniel, CEO of Ines Optics.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk with all of you about IOVI. IOVI is a disruptive technology company that provides intelligent machine vision solutions based on our artificial eye, the Ines Cube. This is the Ines Cube. Ines Cubes has all what we need to solve real problems in the market, include the camera with the lens, sensors, include the hardware to process the image, the software embedded in the hardware platform to process all the information, enable to the customer to use the data that we can provide. The software is based on artificial intelligence algorithms, but not only. We use an hybrid model combining with math, normal math algorithms. And really, we have a library of different algorithms, and we combine this algorithm according with the problem we have to solve. But all is included in this device. There are different formats, and it can be integrated in the Industry 4.0 in agri-food sector. We are focusing on real problems to solve problems that have never been solved. We identify a niche of the market with the enable of scale in volume and solving issues that have never been solved. The way we have to do is to train our neural networks using different approaches, deep learning, machine learning. We take photos to train in an interactive way the machine learning and the neural networks to get the tolerance and the fails that the customer can assume in the problem. As an example, in the logistic area, we have created a product called Ines Arc, which is an arc based on 8 Ines cubes. These arcs are included in the normal workflow without interrupting the movement of trolleys or forklift in a logistic hub when trolleys are coming in to the van, picking the pallets, and the only requirement is the pallet with the trolley in movement has to be passed under the arc in order to enable the Ines cubes can do different actions. First, detect that something is happening. I mean, forklift bringing a load, it's not empty. It's not a people crossing the arc.
Daniel,
it's a pallet.
Out of time.
Sorry?
We're out of time. Final comment.
Okay, in shortly, in logistic area, we are able to save time for the customer, reducing the process, and enable to the customer to invoice for the volume that real are transporting instead of the declaration of the customer. Thank you.
Big applause for Daniel. Thank you very much. Standing here. So, judges, do we have any questions for Daniel? That was a quick one. There we go.
Thank you for the presentation. I'm Guillermo Delgado from BBVA. And you are in a market where you are competing with big players like Amazon with the deep lens. How do you differentiate from them?
Because we provide unique solutions, understanding first the problem of the customer. The lighting problem, for example, is something that providers normally are not included in the designing of the solution. We are using a product that includes all things. The only thing that we have to do is to adapt the algorithms to a real problem in just 2-3 months. We are very, very fast to provide the solution. We are not the developers. We have the library of algorithms, and we understand the physics of the problem to provide then the solution.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Daniel. Big applause for him. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. And we're moving to digital again, going all the way to Germany and to talk again about manufacturing. But maybe an interesting take on this is how do you leverage your current factory, your current devices? How do you connect everything? How do you digitalize everything? And how do you start deploying AI with the data you capture without a single line of code? And to talk about that, please give a very big applause from Germany, the CFO of Iflow, Christoph Sauerborn.
Hi everyone, my name is Christoph and I'm co-founder of Iflow. And with Iflow we solve one of the biggest challenges of manufacturing today, to make full use of factory data. Now, factory floors are very diverse by nature. This can also be seen on the data side that the machines, sensors and other assets provide. Because of the different forms the data comes in, it's not possible to apply, for example, AI to it. You have to clean the data and shape it into the right format. Instead of focusing on the important tasks, data scientists waste 80% of their time doing exactly this. This is why we left the enterprise we worked at, where we had to do this for every single project over and over again. So what if you could turn the data from factory floors into universally usable data for any use case? Even for use cases you don't think of just yet. That's exactly what our software is built for. We apply data science technologies to transform heterogeneous factory data into a standardized, harmonized and understandable data world. This data world does not only include the data itself, but also the interrelationship between the data points of factories. In that way, we create the perfect base and starting point for every Industry 4.0 project. Our easy-to-use software empowers factory teams to finally scale Industry 4.0 use cases regardless of the heterogeneity of their shop floor. By saving those teams time on the basics, we return the invest for each project 5 times faster and help to accelerate the digital transformation and by that strengthen those manufacturers' competitiveness. Now you might ask, why Iflow? Instead, one could hire system integrators to put in place processes and tools like analytics and AI. However, factories aren't static, and who wants to spend money every time something changes? Our no-code tool is designed so that engineers can make these changes without being an IT expert. We are a software as a service company offering 3 different SaaS package sizes. The package size depends on the number of connections made between Iflow and the factory assets. Therefore, we allow a profitable implementation in small but also in big factories. Various industry leaders confirmed the need in our capabilities. We have conversations with multiple global and multi-billion-dollar brands to launch POCs this year. This can only be done with our fantastic team, and that is Daniel, a former leader of a Bosch Industry 4.0 group that was responsible for the digitalization of 5 factories around the globe. This is where we met. And Timo, a software expert with many years of experience in the domain of big data. And myself, a former factory engineer. I successfully ran a startup before, but am now back on the factory floor. Now, does a 5 times faster ROI sound interesting for you? Then we are happy to talk.
Boom! Thank you, Christoph. Dankeschön. Okay, questions for Christoph. That was fast. He was fast. Oh, give me a second. I don't know. I had nearly at the same time. Well, I'd take yours too.
Hi, this is Yorgos from Metavalon VC. So if I understand correctly, you are sort of a first sort of data engineering, and then perhaps I would say data exploration platform. If I understand correctly, from one slide where you had the the diagram, moving entities around and whatever. So my question is, I mean, you compare yourself obviously to manual, consultants and whatever, but how about other data exploration platforms that are there? How do you compare to them? Why are you better? For example, I mean, you're talking about the factory floor. Is there anything particular there? You specialize there? What are the differences? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yes. So in our time where we were working at Bosch, we already had those kind of tools that are already out there. But the problem is there's a huge gap between operations and IT tools. And every single existing tool is like directed to the IT world, and you need some IT skills to actually use those tools. And that's one of the most important reasons why Industry 4.0 does not scale today. So we are like heading to the OT people, to the operations people to actually make Industry 4.0 happen.
Okay, thank you, Christoph. We had another very quick, please. Quick question, quick answer.
Thanks very much for the presentation. Silvia Mendez from NL. Quick question. It's about the implementation. On average, how long does it take? Thank you.
That highly depends on the environment, because we allow a deployment on premise, like on our clients' servers in the factories, but also in a public cloud. But it isn't a very too easy deployable solution, and we allow we can sit on any system that is out there.
Okay, well, Christoph, Dankeschön. Thank you very much for being connected today here. Big applause for him and the fantastic pitch for Iflow. And moving on, we're going back to physical, to one of our neighbors that has come here to join us. And I want to welcome our next startup that's talking about how to build digital twins for the industry and how useful that is to actually engage with them. And to talk about that, I want to welcome our next speaker all the way from Portugal, the CEO of Infinite Foundry, André Godinho.
So good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for the opportunity to present our company, Infinite Foundry. We are a 3D digital twin and virtual sensing company for industry. The challenges that industry faces nowadays are tremendous. You need higher flexibility, you need higher sustainability, but you still need to solve quality problems, you still have scale-up problems. More recently, you have energy problems because of the high price. the solutions that you have in the market to solve and to help you solve these problems are very limited. Or you have the big old control systems that only allow you to manage better the automatic systems that do not help you on solving these problems. Or you have some 3D softwares that are very complex to set up, so you only use them when you do a new factory. You don't use them on your current operations. Hence, our 3D digital twin technology. It is an exact digital replica of the factory, so you can zoom in virtually to any place on the factory, and you can virtually probe any parameter that you want. For example, imagine that you have a quality problem in this bowl, and you can virtually probe and ask the system to tell the pressure that the press machine applied to the bowl to understand why you had that quality problem. You can also, of course, then run a couple of solutions to help you solve that problem. So our technology has basically 3 features. It has a digital twin feature, which is this exact digital replica, virtual and in real time. It has a virtual sensor feature, which is this physics capability that enables you to calculate any parameter, and has a virtual training for workers to improve their productivity and ergonomics. Our solution and business model is very simple. We charge per square meter because that is directly proportional to the computational capability that you need to execute this technology. Our technology is focused on the supply chain because it is the biggest market and where you have the biggest challenges in industry, and is a complete solution because it involves several features that other companies have in the market. It involves IoT, it involves 3D, it involves virtual reality and simulation, all in the same coherent package. Our team is composed of both founders have a very long experience in industry, and we also have a team of experts in mechanical engineering, animation, and mathematics. And we have started our business in 2017, basically in South America, and we have brought that technology to Europe, where we are now talking, when we are talking more in Central Europe with the corporate to increase the scalability of our business. And we plan to keep developing our technology. We currently have the biggest database of virtual factories, and we want to increase that to improve the automation of our system. And for that, we are fundraising 3 million to help us growing our business. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Obrigado, André. Here, let's move backwards so we get the cameras. Do we have any questions, judges, for André? No? Okay, well, you did a fantastic job then.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Big applause for André. Thank you so much. Muito obrigado, my friend. And now we're going back to virtual. This is a company that kind of gets me excited because it looks like Star Wars meets Farm Bill or something like that. But it's how do we take care of specialty crops one crop at a time, one plant at a time. And to talk about that, we have with us today, all the way from the US, Mark DeSantis, CEO of Bloomfield Robotics.
Hi, I'm Mark DeSantis, CEO of Bloomfield Robotics. This gentleman is a viticulturalist. He's trained to look at vines. In fact, he's looking at everything on the vine, from the leaves, the tendrils, the grapes. He's looking as a doctor to determine the health and performance of the plant, to see if there's any disease or infestation. But he's also looking sort of a coach would as the progression of the plant through the season. This routine that he is applying in vineyards is applied by the world's $2 trillion worth of specialty crops, whether it be fruits, vegetables, ornamental flowers, cannabis trees, you name it. Folks like him are looking at those plants, monitoring through their life to ensure that the yield is high and that it's a high quality yield and that the crop is protected. Problem with using people is, well, people disagree. Experts, no matter how highly trained, looking at the same thing, will have different opinions. Also, the level of coverage. This gentleman could look at about 150 vines, about 1/10 of an acre in a day. That's a challenge when you have even a small grow, could be several hundred acres, let alone some vineyards upwards of tens of thousands of acres. There is a way forward, however. It's our system. We use a camera plus AI in the cloud to take a stereo image of the plant. Using its own light source, you get a very high quality image. You put this really on anything that moves on a farm, and we've used a wide variety of vehicles in the roughly 16 vineyards in 4 countries where we are now. You drive past the plant on a continuous basis, it's snapping away and getting very high quality images and rendering a judgment about the plant. In this case, it's actually counting and sizing clusters. But the reality is, because we're taking images at a pixel level and the AI is analyzing at that level, is we can actually count grapes. We can identify their color. We can find disease or mold that might exist on that particular grape. Or, for example, water stress that might exist on an individual leaf. Of course, as we're imaging these plants, we're also geolocating them. So now the grower moves from this management of plants by the acre to actually managing to the plant, to the leaf, to the bush. And you get a macro view of the plant as well as a micro view. The company was started in 2019, spun out of Carnegie Mellon Robotics Institute. We were able to get about $1 million in financing from a wide variety of non-dilutive sources, both in the United States and elsewhere. And as I said, we're in 17 vineyards actually, in 3 countries and a blueberry grow in Peru. Perhaps what's most interesting is among our customers is NASA. There's actually a greenhouse in the space station, and that gentleman right there is a botanist who's trained to look at those plants as they evolve. We've actually got a contract to take our camera, which now sits on tractors, and actually put it into the space station in 20 months to monitor those very crops for their health and performance on a continuous basis. We've got a great team of skilled technologists and experienced entrepreneurs, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. I have to hand it to Mark how peaceful he is. He's like, yeah, I'm here talking about my super startup. It's amazing. Do we have any questions, judges? Yep, okay, we have one there. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. We cannot hear you. Check if you're muted, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you very much. I believe it's very, very early morning, night there. So
It's early.
It's
That's okay.
Okay, we have one question for you. Go ahead, please.
Hello. Thank you very much for the presentation. It's really interesting. I can see that your product still needs some manual operation to collect the images from the plants. So my question is, are you working in something fully autonomous for the future?
Well, the good news is there's a whole movement in farming to have autonomous tractors. We've actually deployed our tool on a couple of those vehicles. And some of the largest tractor manufacturers in the world have approached us about adding sensors. Imagine a future when every farm vehicle that's moving is kitted out with sensors and is passively collecting data about everything that's happening around that tractor while that tractor is doing something else. That future is here. It's here and now. And we're actually in dialogue with several large tractor manufacturers for that purpose.
Okay, do we have any other very quick question? No? Okay, well, Mark, really appreciate your effort for being up so early. So apart from your fantastic pitch and startup, you're taking away this huge applause from our audience. Thank you very much, Mark. And last but not least, we are on the final startup of the Industry 4.0 block, and we are going physical and to talk about something that's pretty straightforward, but it's, in my experience, rarely done, which is we already have a hard time monitoring digital assets. Now imagine monitoring tractors, industrial machinery, really old stuff, really dirty stuff. How do you do that? Well, to talk about that, that's our last startup. And I want to welcome on stage from the US and Spain, the Director of Business Development, Remy Lanelong from Stoke Systems. Remy, thank you.
How's it going, everybody? So today, well, I'm going to tell you about Stoke and why we think that it's important to make asset monitoring as simple as possible. And today I'm going to tell you two stories. The first one on what are these assets that we're talking about and why you should care about why if they're monitored. And the second one we'll get to afterwards. So the first one, let's consider your phone. I see some of you are already looking at your phone. That's good. Thank you. So your phone is actually using lithium. This lithium is sourced from a mine in Australia with remote assets. That lithium is then sent to China, manufactured into a battery, and then it's gone into your phone, which is then shipped to Europe, where you buy it, right? So all of those businesses that are using assets to make your phone, they need to make sure that those assets are operating at optimal performance. So that's why we should all care about these assets operating at being monitored and operating at optimal performance. The second one is, how do you actually monitor these assets? So you buy your phone, you plug it into the wall, and that is probably getting charged by some maybe wind farms in Castilla and León, for example. And so how are they actually monitoring these? Well, they send a super skilled personnel to drive hours. They climb 200 meters to the top of the wind farm, and then they check it, and at the end of the day, it's actually in good condition. So manual inspection is not only dangerous, it's just not effective, and it's not very efficient. It's very expensive. And so our solution is essentially putting the intelligence of these guys, of these skilled personnel, into a sensor. So we use artificial intelligence to build models that can essentially understand the condition of these different assets and give them the insights that they need, that these businesses need, to make sure that their machines are in good condition and that their business is going to be productive and resilient. So what we like to say is that we move insights and not people. And so what kind of insights are we giving them? We're giving them these insights that they can actually use to make sure that they're being very cost efficient, that they're keeping their personnel safe, and they're being as productive as possible, that their assets are as productive as possible. We try to do everything that we do as simple as possible as well. So our solution is sold as a subscription, meaning that there's no CapEx, so it's easy to acquire. The solution is completely wireless, so as soon as you set up the system, as soon as you attach the sensor to the asset, it produces the insights directly and sends them to your phone. And there's a single point integration with your IT and your OT systems. Looking at the initial markets that we're into, we actually have tractions in 4 verticals already since launching last year. So we have 8 customers in total. So we're going after the mining sector, the utility sector, energy, and manufacturers. And we have a global footprint. So we're on 5 continents already, and we've been recognized by a couple industry associations, which we think is pretty cool. Our founding team includes myself. I have over 10 years of industrial automation. Karthik Rao, our CEO, who has over 20 years of R&D in the semiconductor space, and Vengi Rajakrapal, who has over 20 years of experience in the data science space. Together, we can bring the company to the next level, and the market is poised to grow for the foreseeable future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Remy.
Jesus Christ.
I hate to be the guy that does that. I'm sorry. Do we have any questions for Remy? There we go.
Hi, Yorgos from Metavalon VC. So I'd like to know what exactly are you monitoring? Because you mentioned a range of very different assets, from wind turbines to all sorts of other infrastructure. So in other words, does it work with all? I mean, are you monitoring the same parameters? I mean,
yeah,
I just want to understand what you're monitoring.
So that's a great question. So for rotating assets, which is what we're actually focusing on, we're monitoring vibration. So with vibration, you can actually detect most of the failures pretty early on before they actually impact the condition of that asset and before they impact operations. So right now, vibration, and we're looking into additional applications as well.
Okay, that was quick. Any other question? No? Well, Remy, this is your big applause. Thank you very much for being here. Big applause for Remy.